This is Ready, Set, Reiki, a podcast about Reiki, the universal energy life force, from the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all levels, all lineages. Now, Reiki is a journey and not a destination. And on this Ready, Set, Reiki journey, I refer to myself as a guide rather than a host, as I too am traveling, supporting others, and learning on this Reiki journey as well. And with that said, I am your guide, Tracy C. Wright. Joining me on my journey today is LaTanya L. Hill, JD. And she is the creator of KaReiki, now a spiritual healing technique that taps into ancestral energies while strengthening a person's inner spirit and healing abilities. The sole proprietor of I'm Reiki Now, an energy healing company based in Los Angeles, California, and a writer. Now, she has developed a Reiki clinician course for those persons in the medical field who want to integrate Reiki into patient care and self-care. As her company is an approved provider of the California Board of Registered Nursing, the training manuals, Reiki as a complementary therapy for patient care, Teacher's Edition, and Reiki as a complementary Therapy for Patient Care Training Edition are available for purchase online. She is also a certified Reiki Master Teacher in the styles of Usui Reiki Rahiho, Holy Fire 3, Corona Reiki, and a Chakra Healing Master. Her Reiki handbook, Reiki Vibrations with 33 Meditations and Affirmations, is available online and offers healers and laypersons Reiki advice, meditations, and affirmations that may be used in both daily and work life. As someone who meditates regularly, she's an expert on the Insight Timer app with Reiki meditations and courses published internationally. She has been featured and written on multiple Reiki and business organizations and has been interviewed about Reiki on various podcasts. So welcome, LaTanya, to Ready, Set, Reiki.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's LaTanya, by the way. No problem.
Welcome, welcome. So let's begin our journey together. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, well, I am, as you said, a Reiki master teacher, but I have been doing healing my entire life. I come from a family of spiritual people. So we have gone to church on Sunday and then, gone to our psychic friends and our healers on Saturday or Friday, so to speak. So it's been in my family for a long, long time. And I sort of, moved away from that for a minute. And then I came back to it when I got sick. And that's really how my journey with Reiki started. I have rheumatic fever and I was misdiagnosed for the longest time, and then I finally found the right, uh, specialist, and I was in this horrible, painful treatment and stuff, and I was just like, I have to figure out how to release this because I can't see my life being this way, and how to deal with this pain. And I just went back to my teachings when I was a kid, my grandmother and my aunts and friends and stuff about your body being able to heal itself. And so I just like did a prayer and then was like, hey, help me figure out how to use this gift that you gave me that I put to the side but I want to reestablish. And went to sleep, and then the next morning I heard like someone like really talking to my ear saying like, you need to learn Reiki. And I was like, what is Reiki? So I went online, I looked it up, and amazingly, it was something that we were practicing down south, like the laying on hands. I was just like, wait a minute, we used to go to revivals. I did this when I was a kid. I used to be like, hey, come here, let me put my hands on you. But the way I was doing it as a kid, it was like I could feel the heat versus like a cool part of the person's body. And it was like an imbalance of energy, almost pulsating. So I would just like pull it out and balance. I'm like, oh, it's balanced now. It's all one temperature. It's all cool or it's all hot or whatever. Your body's all in balance. And like no one would like know what I was doing. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just like instinctually doing it. And so I was like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. So I like went online, signed up for the course, and there goes my Reiki journey. I immediately started that like I was already off sick anyway. So I immediately like started learning and it just clicked so quick and easy for me. And I said, okay, I'm just gonna do it to heal myself. And within three, like I think it was like within 3 months, I think, or I was already like starting to see results from me having to go get treatment. It took like longer and longer. And then all of a sudden, like I didn't have to go anymore. You know, the recovery was really fast. My doctor even said at one point in time, my specialist was like, I'm looking at your results, and by the numbers, you should be on the floor, but you're sitting here happy, healthy, laughing, having a good time, and I'm a little confused. But I was like, hey, it's the Reiki, doctor. It's the Reiki, it's the Reiki and stuff. It's so it basically like taught my body how to accept the pain and how to deal with it and how to minimize it to the point where, yeah, I still get relapses and it still happens, but I can feel like the Reiki coming over and just like calming everything down and moving everything out, which actually sort of started the journey to the Reiki clinician course because I started all of a sudden getting a lot of people in the medical field asking me to certify them as Reiki healers so they can integrate it into their practice or they can use it at home with their kid or family member who was sick. And the Western, it wasn't like Western medicine wasn't working for them because, like I said, it helped me both combining them together. It was just that they wanted more because they didn't see the progress as quickly as they wanted. And then it was everyone from therapists, psychologists, social workers to, you know, neurosurgeons. I was just like,
Mm,
wow, you know, this is
yeah.
really interesting. I mean, one was even a scientist saying, I don't know how. She was like, I don't know how I'm gonna reconcile this with my peers because we are so scientific and this is so opposite of what we're doing. But she's like, I heard your stuff on Insight Timer, and I kept feeling this energy come over me whenever I did your meditations. And my son was like, Mom, you can heal me, you can help me. It's in your hand. And that's when I knew I had to call you. And I was like,
Wow.
and so I was just like, wow. And that was like, she's like, anything you need, let me know and stuff. And I was like, later, maybe, I don't know. But then I would also get people from other states calling me saying that, I had they're like, I heard your, again, the Insight Timer. I mean, kudos to Insight Timer, right?
Hmm.
Insight Timer. And they said, I went through your meditations and I kept going and I kept feeling stuff. And I'm a doctor. And I was just like, I don't understand this, but I just had this urge to call you or email you. And I don't know what we're going to do in the future, but I just feel like I need to give you my information. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, I was like, okay, I understand what you're saying, universe. I kept seeing this class and I kept hearing like you have to do this. So I was just like, okay, I'll do it. And I did. It took me a few years to like listen really, because it takes a while. We're sort of
Yeah.
hard-headed sometimes, right? Or you want to test it. You don't believe like, is this really happening? Can this really be for me? It's the same thing with the KaReiki when it came about. I was just like, I didn't understand like what was happening with me because, I learned Holy Fire 3. I learned Karuna. I was very happy with those. I love them. They work
Yeah.
well. I still use them when needed in my sessions with people. But KaReiki, like all of a sudden this energy just started coming to me and like it's like a blanket, like a heavy blanket. And I was
Hmm.
just like, this is different. What is this? What is this? And I was like, the connections were different. Like I really felt a connection to everyone, like more than normal, more than anything else. The healing was like so deep. It was like literally I couldn't physically move because of
Mm.
the blanket feel of it all, like a heavy blanket, and I could feel things like just pulling out of me. And then I just had like this really strong connection with nature and like my like people like ancestors started like coming and
Yeah.
visiting. Okay, we're going really spiritual here. What is happening? What is
Right, right,
what is
right.
going on? Like, what is going on? I mean, I've always had the spiritual gifts of dreams and stuff, like, but this
Hmm.
got really like intense.
Yeah.
Um, and then I kept hearing like in my meditations, ka, ka. And I was like, what the heck is ka? Okay,
Mm,
let me go. Okay, spirit, you're talking again. Let's do this again. Go online, look up what is ka? What is this mess? And then
sure.
it was like, Tracy, it was like the spiritual double of the person.
Mm,
100% how I was always practicing from a kid all the way up. And
sure.
even with Holy Fire, I was still adding in that type of teachings and stuff with my clients. And I was like, okay, I get it. So we're doing KaReiki.
All right. Well, it's so interesting. So would you say that with Reiki that you found Reiki or it found you?
It absolutely found me.
Okay.
I did not find it. I wasn't looking for it. I didn't know
Hmm.
about it. And I tell people that too. I'm like, Reiki finds you. It finds the
Yeah.
people it wants to work with, and it will bring you there whether you want to be or
Hmm.
not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting. Yeah. I mean, you kind of invoked a memory as you were speaking. You know, I lived for about 14 years in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. So that was known as the Low Country. And right behind my house, and I mean, you can walk on a path in my backyard, there was a Baptist church, and that's where I went for a number of years. I brought my children, and we did do the hands, hands
Mhm.
on. That was part of that, putting your hand up in the air, and and so and
That's
I just made that connection. So yeah, many of us have been doing this our whole lives, and then when we connect with that word Reiki and we dig a little further, we're finding, wow, I've been doing this all along and I have a name for it. Yeah.
yeah,
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 it's interesting. And
yeah,
Insight Timer is amazing. I'm on Insight Timer as
yeah,
well. And, doing the lives and having the recordings. And it was a beautiful thing during COVID for sure.
yeah.
I mean, what a lifeline to be able to,
Love it. I
yeah,
still, everybody, I'm like everyone. I have all my clients. I'm like, get on Insight Timer, get on Insight Timer.
yeah,
And by the way, not paid by Insight Timer to say this.
sure. Yeah,
No,
sure.
no, no one's paying me. I used Insight Timer before I was a teacher on Insight
Hmm.
Timer.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It was like it was the best and it still is to me
Hmm.
as a user and as a teacher. And I tell
Yeah.
everyone, and not just because I'm on Insight Timer, although I do plug my stuff with my clients, but I
Of
also
course.
tell them to listen to everyone else too. I'm
Yes.
like, listen to everything. They have everything on here. I use it in my sessions, the music.
Hmm. Yeah.
I play it in my sessions and stuff for people. And they're
Yeah.
like, what music is that? I'm like, go on Insight Timer and download
And they're like,
it.
what? But what you get them when you say, hey, you get to watch me, but I can't see you. Then they're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sold. I can stalk you from a distance, of
It's
course.
true. It's true.
And I don't have to talk to you. Okay. And it's free.
That's the kicker. Yeah, it's free. It's so nice. It is nice. That has been like yeah, I love Insight Time. It's been a lifeline. Someone told me you need to put more stuff up. Yeah, it's time to put some more stuff up. I'm like, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they don't realize too, when you do record things and they take their time with it as they edit, listen to it. And if there's any flaw, then they send it back. And it could be the littlest thing and you have to re record. So, yeah, it's a process. They think we can just record it on Audacity and kick it right up, but it's a little bit more detailed than that. So,
Exactly.
so you have studied various systems of Reiki, and then you felt called to create your own healing system and spiritual healing techniques. What was it that inspired you to create this?
Again, it was definitely spiritually derived. It was I'm like so, and I know a lot of people are, but I'm really, really connected in the spiritual realm. I
Mm-hmm.
eat, sleep, breathe Reiki and spirit. I like I said, I grew up in that type of environment where the church and the
Mm-hmm.
spiritual side was just like combined. So I don't even know any difference. And I just kept my spirit just kept saying like you have to do this, and I kept dreaming about it. I literally had dreams about it.
Yeah.
It kept like I would be walking through my day doing my own work, and I would hear like KaReiki, and I'm like, dude, like, can I get a break? And I know, and I tell people like when they ask me like, how do you know when your premonitions are are real
Hmm.
versus you just really, thinking it or saying it. I'm like, I
Sure.
hear it again and again in my head.
Yeah.
It won't go away. It's like it's not my voice, and it's a different voice saying the phrase or word again and again. And that's really what happened. Whenever I would meditate, I would see myself training people with KaReiki. And I'm like, okay, you're just gonna bring that to me. Okay, so and I was like, okay, until I started writing and delving into it, that the voice didn't go away. Only when I
Mhm.
started actually saying, okay, and then I started teaching both. I was teaching still Holy Fire and I was teaching KaReiki, and I was just like, okay, do both. You can do both. And let
Mhm.
me know what happens because I like the practice. That's the I think that's the like the teacher, the attorney kind of person. I want to see the process and I want to see
Mhm.
if it's really gonna happen and really gonna work. And so I'm like, okay, so you know Holy Fire, now you know KaReiki, do both on your clients and then let me know how it goes. and
Sure, sure.
and
Yeah.
and they did, and I was like, also, and I would ask her like, okay, how did Cod, do and what was the difference? What's your clients say? And they were like, oh, they said it was like a blanket, like they felt the heavy energy like on their body, and I was like, okay, so I'm not crazy.
What's interesting as you're telling your story, this sounds very similar to kind of the path William Rand had because he was always taught that that was one way. And then, using the Usui Tibetan symbols, and he had that calling too, but the mind was no, it's supposed to be this way. But you still had that pull to
Yeah.
no, this is necessary, this is needed. And so, I've been fortunate enough to interview practitioners, master teachers who were called to create their own system. And it was that thing, that resistance as well. Like, I'm not sure, this is already done, but I'm being pulled. So it's just fascinating, the
Yeah.
connections. And then as us as human beings, we have that doubt where we're not stepping into faith and say, okay, this is the
Mhm.
unknown. Where are you guiding me? I mean, when Usui Sensei went up to that mountain, there was already I think 3 or 4 different Reiki systems in place already. So he already probably knew. He was educated, he was a doctor, an academic. And so he probably was already aware of this when he rediscovered this energy. And he probably felt the same thing as well, that doubt. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it took me, I'm gonna be honest, like it took me a year. It took a
Yeah.
year for me to like 100% step into it 100, like, okay, this is
Mhm.
KaReiki, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
This is me. This is what I'm putting forward from here on out, and this is what I'm gonna teach, and this is what I'm putting into the world and stuff. A whole year. And
Mhm.
again, like I practice and I'm telling people, I'm like, what happened? Like,
Mhm.
give me, and everyone's always says it's a
Feedback.
heavy energy, it's a heavy blanket. And I felt like something just like pulled out, but it was like something was holding me. And I was like, okay, okay, in different
Hmm.
parts of the body. So I'm like, okay, okay, okay. Because again, you're right. There's still like that little like, especially if they know
Sure.
different styles of Reiki.
Oh
Like,
yeah, there's so many.
yeah. And I recently had a class with Reiki clinicians, and they were all Reiki master teachers. So they were being taught, how to teach and everything else. One was a nurse, and they all said the same thing. I was like, oh, this is really going to be they all have various styles of training
Hmm.
and Reiki, and they all have different paths. They all have like really special gifts. So this is really going to be, the
Yeah.
And every single one was like, they're like, yeah, I felt the heavy energy. I felt the energy come over me, or I felt it on my shoulder. I felt it on my hand. I felt it on my
Hmm.
legs. And their homework was to practice at night on someone. And they were just like, yeah, I practiced. And they said they felt like the difference. They felt like a heavy energy, like enveloped
Mm.
them, and their headache was gone and like quickly. And I was like, go, Kari, go. It's not me. It's like the
Of
universe,
course, of
literally.
course. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just doing what I'm being told. I really am
Sure.
following my spiritual
Yeah,
contract.
yeah. And I mean, you have that ability, as a Reiki master teacher, if you feel that calling. So if our listeners are that seasoned master teacher and you have that calling and pull, and many of them never imagined when they stepped into their first Reiki training that they would ever be a caretaker of a particular system. They just went because they wanted to feel better, or they had some kind of catalyst for change in their life that they needed help with. And those are all necessary in your journey. Taking the Zui, taking the holy fire, help that healing within you,
It
right?
did.
To
Yeah.
help bring apart that culturally created self that you can say, you know what? Here it is. Welcome,
Yeah.
world.
Oh my God, that is 100% true. That's why I tell people, I'm very clear when I tell them, I said, I will still use holy fire and karuna if that's
Yes.
what's needed, because
Hmm.
that system may help to like give me my roots. Like
Sure.
I love the tree. I love the tree symbol. I go hug my trees. That helped give me my roots to create and
Hmm.
blossom into what I feel like I am right now, to really, really connect with that spiritual part again, because I had put it to the side because it became so intense. It was overtaking, but it helped to bring it back, and bring it back in a very nice, clean, linear way instead of chaotic. It's very peaceful. So that's how, and honestly, that's how I used to describe Holy Fire 3 and Karuna with
Yeah.
people. It is such a gentle, peaceful energy. Um,
Hmm.
it's just like cleanse. It's like feather brushing and
Yeah.
everything. Feather,
It's one
feather.
of compassion. Yay, feather.
Like
So,
beautiful. And then they say, "What's Ka?" I said, "Oh, Ka is like a heavy blanket. You're just going to be like secure. It's like almost like a shield on you."
sure, sure. Wonderful,
That's
wonderful.
you putting on that heavy shield, and it's just going to pull everything out. That's how that is. And you're right, that my journey was like, again, I didn't want to do this. I did not want to.
Sure.
It wasn't in my plan. My plan was just to help myself
Hmm.
overcome my own issues, my own personal illness, and get to a point where I can like get through a whole month without being in excruciating pain or having to go to a.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I didn't want to teach. And I
Hmm.
kept seeing myself teach, and I kept hearing like, you're going to teach. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And it was like, yes, you are. Like I really have arguments with my spirit. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And then here I am teaching, and then I love it. I'm like, and it was like, I told you you're gonna like it. I'm like, whatever. So, so
Yes.
yeah, I mean, everything is
Beautiful.
spiritually derived. I just follow what I'm told to do now. I say, okay, I'm not gonna question it anymore. I'm just gonna follow it. I'm just gonna do it and see what happens, which is how I ended up also. I just heard like you need to get approved by the California board, and I was like, oh.
And that's perfect because that was just in my thoughts. So you must be reading them. So
It's the spirit. We're connected. Your spirit, we're already connected spiritually.
so with your yeah, so with your company, and kudos as being a provider for the
Thank
California
you.
Board of Registered Nursing. So working with those in the medical profession and going out serving, teaching, educating, helping level those up. As you are out in this field, what do you find is a common misconception about Reiki?
That it is one, that it's a religion. And I have
Mm,
to like remind people that like it's not a
yeah.
religion, it's a spiritual practice, and that it is like witchcraft. It's not witchcraft.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not,
It's a
it's like
bad
it's
rap.
not witchcraft, you guys. No,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
offense to the witches out there, but it's not witchcraft.
Hmm.
Um, and and that like basically that it just won't work.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not gonna work. There's no, and I'm just like, well, okay, let's talk about, and then I have to break it down. Like, let's talk about energy. Do you believe that there's energy around you? Yeah. Do you believe
Hmm.
that you are composed of energy? Yes. Do you believe that that energy can be manipulated and utilized? Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. Now
Yeah,
let's think about this.
yeah.
When you were a kid and your mom or your dad or someone in your family, you got hurt and then they touched you to make it feel better, did it feel better? Yeah. Okay. So they're putting that was your mom
Mhm.
or whoever putting that energy, that good energy into your body, into that pain to alleviate it. So let's magnify that now. And it just Oh, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I can start teaching them Reiki.
Yeah.
We have a foundation. We have something that they can relate to.
Yeah.
Really, truly.
Yeah. When you think of back, like in my childhood, of the things that I believed in that actually weren't real, like Tooth Fairy, right?
Yeah.
Easter Bunny, right? And like with all this faith, yes, I'm going to get that money under my pillow, right? That's that same energy, but you're connecting, to a higher source, and we go
Yeah.
back through our religious roots of prayer, take it to the cross, ask
Yeah.
God for anything. And it's not that God's a genie in the sky, but that he wants our highest good. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. And that's like let's talk about like this and yeah,
Yeah.
definitely the highest good, right? That
Mhm.
energy is 100% God energy, pure cosmic God energy, highest good. And people, I think that people and oh, should I even say this? I'm gonna say it because my spirit is telling me to. I'm gonna say it. And especially coming from the background I come from, very like, Bible thumping, religious kind
Mhm.
of background down south. They ask your name and then what church you go to,
Mhm.
and
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
what church you go to before your name. So, so, so the thing I'm gonna say is that a lot of people, I feel like they've gotten so into the dogma of the church that they forget that they are spiritual creatures and beings too. They've taken spirit out of the church
Mhm.
and put just straight dogma in and follow, follow,
Mhm.
follow. And I'm the church leader. I'm the hand of God. Follow me. But guess what? That person is still a man.
Mhm.
And the same way that person connects, they have just more information than you do when it comes to the Bible. But if you read the Bible and you really go into it and you really focus on your spiritual self, you're going to have that same information.
Yeah.
And then it's an interpretation. And it is, oh, but God, people are going to come at me. It is an interpretation. And it is basically, I feel like people forget that they are just as powerful spiritually as
Mhm.
that person standing up there that they're listening to. And they forget
Mhm.
their power because God has given us all power. We're just not utilizing it. Some of us
Well, I
utilize.
mean, we all have the Holy Spirit within us.
Yes,
That's the thing. When he ascended
exactly.
back, it's within us. And my mother's very Bible based. My mother's not for any of this. The yoga, the Reiki, she is the Bible, and she will slay you if you're not doing this right, you're not doing this right, you're not going to church every Sunday, things like that. And so instead of stepping back and saying, well, isn't this what Jesus and the disciples were doing? They were going
Yes.
out, laying hands, and it's not me, I'm not taking the credit for it, but it's another. And my mother is a nurse, so touch therapy, touching someone,
Wow.
right? The benefits
Exactly.
of touch. Right? The power of positive thinking, right? It's your attitude. I had a couple of guests, Reiki practitioners that survived stage 4 breast cancer. And it was attributed to,
Mm.
listening to their doctor. It's never a replacement for medical care, but it was a wonderful modality to walk alongside of it, and then remaining that positive attitude that they weren't the statistic. They were one in the positive. They were the survivor on it. So a lot of different things come into play with that. But yeah, just kind of keeping an open mind,
Keeping an open.
and observing and experiencing it,
You're absolutely
so.
right, and and that's another thing. Oh, I love you said that it's not a replacement for it because that's definitely one
Mhm.
of the things with Reiki as a complementary therapy, the
Yes,
occupational care,
yes.
right? And
Yeah.
I tell people, and even in our class, it came about like, what if someone says, "Oh, because you did Reiki, the treatment didn't work," and whatever. And I was like, if that happened to me, if someone actually said that, because you have a care team, right? You all have to work
Hmm.
together, and so. I was like, you would remind that person and remind the team that Reiki does not take the place of medical care. You still need to
Yeah,
have your
yeah,
care. It is a complement to it.
yeah.
It's simply allowing that patient to open up their body, to open up their reception to the medicine, to the treatment, to the surgery. Reiki
Hmm.
doesn't control the surgeon's hand. It doesn't control the medicine.
No.
it just allows that person to be more receptive to it, to get rid of that anxiety, that fear, that anger that you have for your body betraying you. It gets rid of all of those negative emotions so that your body can do what it naturally does, which is heal. So
Right.
Reiki doesn't do any harm. It's not going to stop anything from
Hmm.
happening. What is going to happen is going to happen. It's destined. It just allows
Sure.
you to be more receptive to it. Um, and I can say that definitely from experience because I used to be anxious. I used to be fearful. I was angry.
Hmm.
I was like upset that my body betrayed. I felt like betrayed. Like, I'm like, how dare you start
Yeah.
breaking down at a
Hmm.
young age? And I can't even like, I used to be like gym lady. I would like, people used to think I was a professional athlete. I was so like great shape. And then I couldn't even lift like 20 pounds because it robs you of your strength and everything.
Hmm.
And I was just like, I couldn't even walk a block anymore
Yeah.
at the worst. I was just like, I couldn't even get out of bed sometimes. So I was just, you
Yeah.
have all that. And I kept thinking, like, wow, if I had at that time a Reiki healer with me, if I had someone in that hospital, if I had someone in the doctor's office who could like help me get through all these emotions that I had, it probably wouldn't have taken as long. But I mean, but again, Reiki found me. It made, I feel like everything happened for a reason. So now that
Hmm.
when I go and talk to someone, when I'm training someone, when I'm working with people, I come from a place of experience. I know exactly what they're feeling. I know exactly
Yeah.
how they see things.
Yeah.
I can literally say, I know, I've been there.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, and it's a matter of deciding it right, just right too. There's many different systems out there. If that one doesn't resonate, perhaps there's a different system. But like I had a situation where my blood pressure was getting unsteady, and I never had that experience before. And we tried different medications. So that's an example right there of like, well, this one should have worked, but it didn't. So let's try something different. And
Mhm.
so the Reiki, just give that opportunity to work within you and be open to it. And it's cumulative. Many people think you're going to pull out a magic wand,
Yeah,
tap you on the head, bippity boppity boo, and you're going to turn into this healthy person, right? And
right.
sometimes it does take the work. This could be an ailment that was 5 years in the making, and it's not going to wash away immediately. So you're looking at like painting something, and you have layers of paint, and you want to get down to that original layer. So we're, moving that away. And also to the power of this energy. When my son was 4 years old, he had gotten sick and he was in the hospital. And my husband at the time was in Bahrain. And I was in Charleston, South Carolina. Nearest family was 11, 12 hours away in Pittsburgh. And the preacher from my church came and we prayed. We
Nice.
prayed over my son. And I didn't know Reiki then, right? So that power of prayer. And he had
Yeah.
said, Lord, raise him up. And I just was holding hands and we were praying over him. And I asked, God for a sign. And I heard this crash right into the door. And I turned, and of all the nurses on the nurse, I knew her. Her son was in my daughter's class. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh my goodness. And she crashed right into the door and tripped with what she was having. And that was a sign, you know what, he's going to be okay. That's my sign. But that shows you the power of this in believing in a higher source, whether it's prayer, the Reiki energy coming from,
Mhm.
God's loving light or a God of your own understanding,
Yeah.
because there's something so much bigger than us. We don't know the answers, and whatever you can use as this energetic tool to help us get through life, to get through these challenges, give it a
Mhm.
try. It does no harm.
Absolutely.
What's the worst thing? You're like, put your hand on your heart, do your just for today. What
Hmm.
happened? I didn't hear
Yeah.
music, right? Fairies aren't flying around. It's good. I mean, you take your time and it'll be cumulative. And it took a while before like I realized, and it was when a crisis happened that I stopped and I said, this is working, because I
Mm.
wasn't as reactionary. I wasn't as nervous. I was like, I'm calm, because I would be
Yeah.
Chicken Little, right? The sky's falling. And in that, there it lies in the work.
Yeah, I love that you said it, and you reminded everybody, all of us, that it does. It takes more than just one session. And
Sure,
I
sure.
used to tell people, I'm like, if you, and I'm gonna be honest, like I'm very particular with who I take as clients
Mhm.
because of that.
Yeah.
Even with people I teach, because of that. Because I don't want, I'm like, if you just want to have like one little quick like session of just relaxing and whatever, then let me refer you to someone I've trained
Mhm.
or someone else, because for me this is like life.
Yeah.
This is life changing. You're gonna need more than just one session. You're gonna need like 1 to 2 sessions. I mean,
Oh,
like
sure.
3 to 5 sessions. I tell people, because based on what you're trying to do, I'm like, do you want to change your life? Do you want to really actually make a change in your life, or do you just need a moment to relax?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
asked them point blank,
Yeah.
you know, and they're like, oh, I just heard about it. I just want to try it. I said, okay, well, if you're exploring and you want to try it, then great. Okay, we can come in, we can talk about it, whatever. But if you already know and you just want to like, you think I'm just gonna like immediately take away like some kind of emotional pain or something, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that goes into like Dr. Hitachi, right? Where it was in the clinic and you had a care plan. Like you're going to come in,
Yes.
this is your ailment. We're going to have the same hand placements each time over a course of months. So even Madame Takata, how many months did she have to go? How many
Yeah.
times a week before that healing happened?
Exactly. And like I
Yeah.
said, it took me a while to heal my own self, to get it
Yeah.
to clean me out and get my own.
Exactly, exactly. Well, this is
And I
great.
was,
So, our next question. So, you've been a part of so many people's healing journeys and helped them overcome their struggles. What's been the biggest challenge or struggle you faced in your healing journey?
oh my goodness. For my healing journey, honestly, it was the emotions. It was like the
Mm,
anger. It was the betrayal of my body from being someone who's been like working out with my military uncles and cousins from the time I was like 8 and 10 years old. Like I'm out there with them lifting weights and doing stuff. Someone who's always been athletic and in the gym, and then all of a sudden my body just shut down
mm,
completely. My whole life changed. Like I didn't even know, I didn't know how to live at that moment in time. I didn't know what to do. I was in excruciating pain. I had to I honestly had to let that person go,
yeah.
like let them pass away and say, okay, that part of my life is over. So I'm gonna start from scratch and and work with this new part. This is who I am right now. But body, you betrayed me. I can't. I'm so upset with you.
Yeah. Let
I
that
was.
go.
It was emotional,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
but Reiki helped me to release all that anger, the disappointment, the sadness, the depression that I didn't even
Yeah.
know I was
Yeah.
in. I mean, it got really dark. It got dark because I was like, I don't see myself living the rest of my life like this. Like I was like at the point where I was just like, I can go right now. I don't want to be in this much pain forever. And oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I never said that before. But it really
Yeah.
got that dark.
Yeah.
Because that's how much pain I was in. I could not move.
Yeah.
Even putting on clothes. I didn't understand. Like I was
Yeah.
like, this is not life. This is not living if I
Yeah.
can't do it.
Yeah.
But
And here you are
again,
helping others. Look at that. So you got through it and you're an example to show to others that you can do it. You did it.
yeah,
Well
it's
done.
that's why I know, like there's no way, if you really, really are wanting to change, you
Hmm.
can do it.
You can
It
do
can
it.
happen.
You did it.
It can happen.
So when it is time for you to get an energetic tune-up, what are some qualities that you look for in a Reiki practitioner?
What are for to train? I'm sorry,
Well, if you were getting a tune-up for yourself, so as
oh,
you're looking around, and if you don't get any of your Reiki tune-ups, what are some qualities that you look for in a Reiki practitioner?
oh, I do get tune-ups. I need them. I do. So, so, so I look for someone who really they understand what Reiki is. I'm gonna be really honest, that they are very comfortable in
Mhm.
their Reiki healing. I look for someone who has a gift who understands the spiritual part of it, because my spirit always walks into the room whenever someone's giving me Reiki. So I don't want people to
Yeah.
freak out when they like sense something or feel something, because it's very like a strong energy, or they see something because it's a very strong
Hmm.
energy.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
uh, I really look for someone like that. I really do. I want someone who isn't afraid to explore and be very open to whatever happens in a session. Um, that's the person. And I usually go to, I'm gonna be really honest, I usually go to the very first person I taught and is certified as a Reiki healer. I pretty much go to
Oh,
her. Because
wonderful.
yeah, she's very gifted, and she really understands the spiritual part and everything, and I saw that in her before she even saw it in herself. so so
Sure.
I go to her most of the time, and I don't know if I can say her name. But I go to her most of the
Okay.
time. Oh, Carlin. Her name is Carlin.
Wonderful, wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. So you have done so many amazing things from your wonderful Reiki that you have created, your business, I'm Reiki Now. You have developed these wonderful training manuals that are being used by the California Board of Registered Nurses. You have a handbook, Reiki Vibrations with 33 meditations and affirmations. So, and you're an insight timer, and I'm sure there's many, many more things to come. So, what advice would you give to someone who is just entering this profession?
Oh my goodness, be open. Be open to all the experiences. Know that there is going to be good ones and there's going to be some challenging ones, but definitely be open to it and understand that it's a process. And when I say it's a process, meaning like 1 minute you're like full of all this energy, and then the next minute it may be like nothing. You
Hmm.
may feel like, whoa, I don't know if this is still working, but it is. It is. It's just you growing and elevating and moving up to higher vibrations, and just remain connected and open to your spirit. You really have to do those. Like, I'm a big fan of meditations. Please, please, like, I make everyone meditate. You have
Yeah.
to be connected to your spirit. And the best way to do it is to meditate and do your Reiki meditations, and just like talk to people, practice on everyone, test everything. I tell people, like, I tested the theory of whether or not you can practice Reiki while having alcohol in your system. I literally
Oh,
got drunk. just
yeah.
I did. I got drunk just to test the theory.
Hmm.
And by the way, you can't do Reiki with it.
Yeah.
I got nauseous. I got
Yeah.
so sick, I almost passed out. And I was like, wow, it really won't let you do anything
Mhm.
negative. It really
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
energy. But I'm not telling people to do that. I'm just saying,
Sure.
like,
Sure.
like,
And even if you go through like Cal Gray does do Reiki, but he offers different trainings for his crystal and cards and things. You sign something that says that you won't ethically treat someone who is
yeah,
intoxicated or
yeah,
high. Yeah. So
yeah.
it's just an ethical thing that like, you say you're at a Christmas party and someone finds out, oh, you're Reiki, give me let's try it out, and they're intoxicated. You just say, let's do it another time. It's not
That's
right.
it. That's
Yeah.
right. I tell
Yeah.
people that. I say, if you do any drinking, whatever, stop before we do the session and everything.
Sure.
By the
Sure.
way, people just starting out, make sure you tell them no drugs. That includes the
Hmm.
marijuana. That
Yeah.
includes that includes the
Yeah.
kids and stuff. Because
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
nowadays don't think that counts. It counts.
Sure, sure, sure.
It counts.
Right. And another thing too, with those starting out in the business, I don't know if our listeners made the connection as you're looking at Reiki systems. So we have Holy Fire, which is a registered trademark system. Corona is trademark, and both of your system, Ka, is
Right.
trademarked, and your business
Yes.
as well. So, do you think that's important as well
Yes.
as a business owner to
Oh,
trademark? Because Ready Set Reiki, I have trademarked as well. So, it's not a topic we've brought up on the podcast before, but I thought it was kind of a good thing to mention since I saw in your bio that you have registered both of those.
I'm so glad you brought that up and you're the first one. And yes, absolutely. If you're starting out with your business, you want to trademark, you want to do that name search. You want to make
Hmm.
sure that it's original. And then as soon as possible, you want to go ahead and trademark it with the USPTO. Do not hesitate. Pay the fee. Do it
Mhm.
yourself. Don't pay like an exorbitant attorney, whatever. Try and do it yourself. They have like, YouTube trainings that you
Mhm.
can look and see how to fill it out. And by the way, if you make a mistake, the reviewing attorney will send it back to you and let you know the mistake you made and tell you how to correct it. And then you just do that and send it back and get it done. You really want to trademark your stuff, because I've noticed that since I have put KaReiki out, all of a sudden on social media, it's a lot of imitation KaReiki this,
Yeah.
KaReiki something, something, something else. And I'm just like, no. And then I even saw on social, like just on Google search, someone else had all of a sudden moved, put KaReiki as a system that they did. And I'm just like, no, honey, that's mine. That's mine.
Yeah.
That's,
Hmm.
that's mine. So don't start like doing stuff like that. But yeah, you want to trademark. You want to trademark your name. You want to trademark your business name. You want to trademark anything that you can, that because
Wonderful.
you don't want you just don't want other people to take it and
Hmm.
use it for something not quite great. Let's put it
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, because that's what I thought. I'm like, if I need to, well, first of all, I have a legal background as an attorney, even though I'm not, I don't practice on my license anymore, or head on.
Sure.
So, but, but so I know the benefits of like covering yourself legally,
Hmm.
and it's just that you really just want to cover yourself legally. You don't want to all of a sudden someone else is out there saying, "Oh, I did this and I'm this," and it's yours.
Yeah, yeah.
Your original
And I've
idea.
heard stories of people that have had a podcast up, and then you have like something that's called like a pod fade, where you pause it for a while, they take a break, and then someone thinks, oh, that means it's no more. I can use that name and take it because that person didn't register the name. So I found that out very early, that in my journey, that I need to make, number one, make sure no one has this name. And I was surprised, Ready Set Reiki, no one had that yet.
That's a
And
great name.
then, yeah, and they've had different versions. Like I had someone on the show, hers was Ready Reiki. But registering it. So that way, how would you feel if you put all this work in and then you see someone, and I even see this with Holy Fire too. I see it offered for $14.99 or $9.99, and it doesn't have that R. It doesn't have the Holy Fire 3 after it. So be very mindful as you're going out there, making sure that it is that particular system and not a knockoff of it. So,
Yeah, because William Rand is very clear and very specific about how he wants Holy Fire to be taught,
mhm,
and and
sure.
and I don't blame him. That's his system and he knows how it should be done.
Hmm.
So yeah, they definitely want to, anyone who
Oh,
wants to
yeah.
learn that system,
Yeah.
you definitely make sure
Right.
that like, you go to ICRT and you do it the right way, because
Sure.
I did.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did it the right way. And if you want to learn KaReiki, come to me and make sure you do it
That's
the right
right.
way.
All right. So, our next question is, what books do you recommend?
Oh, mine. I recommend every single one of my books.
Okay. It's the call library.
Reiki Vibrations, the handbook for you guys. If you want to take the course, you got to buy the other book. And if you want to do some sci-fi, my Dollhead Corporation. But outside of me, seriously, like outside of me, I love, believe it or not, there's this book that I keep forever buying again, and because every time I lend it out, like people don't return it.
Mm.
It's called The Tao of Health, Sex, and Longevity by Daniel Reed.
Okay.
And it was like a starter for me on how to like balance your body, how like it gives you exercises, it teaches you how to eat basically,
Mm.
eat correctly, and it gives you the system, like the history and the philosophy of Taoism and how to integrate it into modern world life. So I always like lend that book out. It teaches you how to cleanse your body, and I feel like you have to physically be right,
Hmm.
obviously for Reiki too, you want to maintain your body physically, because we are here in this world and it is the house of the spirit. So That's a great book. I love that book. I still have it now. I still open it up. I read it all the time. Remind myself of the things I need to do, especially when it comes to the stretches and how to eat your food. And I mean, like, it'll teach you food combinations that are good
Mhm.
for different parts of your body and how, and for like healing stuff. So that's like one of my favorite books. I am actually a sci-fi buff, so 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 I'm an Octavia Butler. I read a bunch of that kind of
All
stuff.
right, wonderful, wonderful. All
I
good, all
really
good.
do. So
All
so
right.
that wouldn't help you.
It might, it could. Yeah, it could. It's
It
anything
helps
that's a
you
part of
to
your
relax,
journey. There you
basically.
go.
To relax
Very
when you
good,
do
very good. So, what other services do you offer? Classes, trainings, events?
I do. I have, well, obviously, I'm doing the certifications for the Reiki clinician. I'm really focused on that one right now. I also certify people for KaReiki levels 1 all the way up to Reiki master teacher. And for the Reiki clinician, it's really special because it's for the medical, but there's also the Reiki master teacher part of it that's for the that level for people
Mhm,
who want to train and utilize it. Yes, you would only be able to give the contact hours if you go under I'm Reiki now, like as a contract employee,
mhm.
but you can still use the method and the book for
Sure.
whatever. You know what I mean? I specifically wrote the book in a way that I said, maybe other people, maybe not everyone wants to learn KaReiki, even though I want them to, but maybe not everyone wants to learn.
Very good.
So, so let me write it so that if you know a different system of style, you can still use the format to teach in that way and stuff. And so that's what I'm offering. So those courses are always open.
Hmm.
You just contact me. I like to keep small classes, to be quite honest,
Hmm.
because I like to really, we get into it. Like, it's a really intense course.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it gets really intense, especially with the opening up and the homework that people have to do, which is a lot
Yeah.
of meditations and Reiki and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I have like this, I have this really wonderful baby and me um like session that I do where
Okay.
like the mothers, expectant mothers get to have like a meet and greet with their child in the womb.
Aw. Yeah.
It, yeah, that one is like really nice. That's special. That for at least for the mother and for me. We
Wonderful.
get to do
Wonderful.
it. So those are the things like I'm doing like right now. I'm really just
Okay.
like certifying people and having sessions, but I really am working towards getting more people in the medical field into that Reiki
Wonderful.
clinician course and in the nursing field. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, where can we find you? Online, in person?
Oh, so online is always a great way to start, right? So you can go to I'mReikiNow.com and it has all my information where you can find me. I'm on Insight Timer, of course. We had a whole segment on that. And I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram. And I just really actually started putting more of my Reiki meditations on YouTube. So
Beautiful.
yeah, I decided like, I want to make sure they can get out there to everybody
Very
like
good.
all
Very
the time.
good.
Hmm.
All right. Well, that ends the first part of our journey, LaTanya and Tanya. And we are going to move on to the second part, which is our social media and questions from our Reiki students. So,
Yes, come.
number one, here we go.
I love
You,
it.
cre- you created a Reiki handbook, Reiki vibrations and 33 meditations and affirmations. What inspired you to create this and where can we buy it?
I had so many questions when I first started out. Um, like too many questions, like so many questions that people stopped responding to me.
Mm,
I just because I was experiencing so many different things. I found that Reiki works so different with each and every single person. And I was having dreams, I was having like physical symptoms from Reiki. I was hearing things. I mean, it was a lot. And so I felt like, oh my goodness, if I just had like a little cheat sheet on, on all the possible things that can happen with Reiki, that would be so great. And then I thought, like, wait a minute, I'm a writer. I'll just write one. I
yeah.
I'll just write a little handbook that you can carry in your purse or your bag. And for people who are just starting out, but also for those people who learn Reiki, who are Reiki master teachers and just stop doing it for whatever reason, but want to
Mm-hmm.
get back to it. Because I started at that time, I was meeting a lot of people like that too. I was like, well, I'm a Reiki master teacher, but I haven't practiced in like 10 years. What? How? What? Okay. And so I was like, let me write, I'm gonna write a little handbook that just covers exactly what you need, the different things and how Reiki presents itself with different people, as I was finding in my Reiki sessions with folks and with my trainings. Like 3 students can go in a room with the same person and Reiki presented differently each time, but that person still had the same issues. It was so weird, but so beautiful at the same time. So that's what inspired me. I said I wanted something that anyone can just pick up and use and understand and just simple, basic to the point. I always write simple, basic to the point. I don't add any flowery stuff. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
If you're one of those people who wants like a whole detailed flowery things, then I'm probably not going to be that author for you. I like to get what I need to know from something so that I can work and do what I want to do and then move on. So
Beautiful.
that's it.
Beautiful. Number 2, can you tell me about KaReiki and can it be used with other systems of Reiki?
Yes, KaReiki can be used with other systems of Reiki because I used to teach it with Holy Fire, and I still do. If someone wants to know Holy Fire, I'll teach the Holy Fire and I'll teach KaReiki. But KaReiki is what I'm teaching now, really mainly. Ka- KaReiki is KaReiki is basically it is a system that really draws onto your ancestral and your spiritual part. It Ka meaning double, your spiritual double. So it is really going to connect you with that spiritual part of you. Because I've found also, I hate to say this, but it's true, that a few Reiki healers aren't really connected spiritually, but they're definitely
Right.
healing, but they're not connected spiritually. So KaReiki will basically connect you spiritually so that that's one of the reasons why you don't really honestly need symbols. You don't need the symbols and you
Right.
don't have to do the hand positions. It's 100% intuitive because you are so connected with your spirit with KaReiki that it's already there. You are that symbol. You are whatever it is, whatever healing needs to be done or taken place. Your spirit knows because hello, cosmic spirit. It's
Right.
already
Right.
there. So that's really what KaReiki is. It's your spiritual double. It's you connecting. It's you and your spirit becoming so intertwined. There is no difference. You're literally leaving this physical plane of existence and allowing your spirit to take over
Beautiful.
100%.
So are there no symbols in
No
the
symbols needed. Like
Okay.
literally no symbols used, no symbols needed. No, it's you're connected like 100%. Yeah.
Beautiful. So number 3, your company, I'm Reiki Now, is an improved provider for the California Board of Registered Nursing. Tell us a little bit about your company.
Oh my goodness. My company is basically like me working like a dog. It is.
Really? Preach it.
I'm doing everything. I am writing. I am creating. It's me doing working remotely with people online, working in person with those people who are in LA or in close vicinity to LA. It is me getting out there and working and doing presentations and figuring out what new meditation I want to put online to help people today. I am my company. When you want to know about my company, you're like basically learning about me because I am someone who wants to really help. I want to
Hmm.
leave a footprint. I'm working on a like online learning center right now that is going to be like called the Reiki Oasis Center that I'm literally going to just put it on access on my website so
Hmm.
that people can sign up and do online courses and certify and also have access to meditations and stuff there and conversations and courses and when I say courses, not just certification courses, but like any type of stuff like we were talking about earlier, copywriting and stuff like those kind of stuff, like from the very basics all the way up.
Hmm.
I'm Reiki Now is basically gonna put my teaching legal, nonprofit, government work background and healing all rolled into one, and
All rolled
writing
one.
all rolled into one for everyone. My goal in my spiritual contract with I'm Reiki Now is basically to leave something so when I pass on, there's something left that's good that someone can go to that helps to benefit mankind and society that they can utilize. And I hope that when I do leave, that there's someone else who picks up the mantle and keeps
Yeah.
it going. I mean, I'm even working on getting approved through the American Association for Nurse Anesthesiologists, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to go for the American Holistic Nursing Association, so the company can get certified through them. So I'm hoping that whoever takes over continues that so that we can really, I want Reiki to be open to everybody. I don't think that
Sure.
you need to, I think insurance should pay. I really believe they
Yeah.
should pay. So I'm Reiki Now is really trying to get, and I hope other people jump on board who are bigger than me, who have more money than I am, that insurance should really
Mhm.
pay for this. You
Yeah.
know, uh, Medi-Cal should pay. People who are poor shouldn't have to, or don't have a lot of money shouldn't have to not have the option of having alternative medicine and
Sure.
therapy.
Yeah.
So it's a passion of mine. It's a long-term goal. I hope I live to see it happen, but if not, I'm doing my best to start the path. So that's how I'm Reiki Now.
Very
That's
good.
how I'm Reiki Now.
Very good. Well, that was our last question. And as we were talking, is there anything you might have forgotten about or something you'd like to share with the listeners? The floor is yours.
Oh my goodness, don't give me the floor. Tracy, I'll talk forever. What are you talking about?
Well, floor to the ceiling.
I just want to say that if you're really like passionate about helping people, if you're interested in doing Reiki and learning Reiki and experiencing it, then, and if you want to learn about your gifts, because I am really great at that. That is one of my, that's one of my gifts. That's one of my
Mhm.
gifts is to be able to figure out your gift and help you with your
Yeah.
gift. so, so then definitely I want you to like contact me. And if I also want to let you know that even if we like if I'm not like a perfect fit with someone, then I've trained so many other people that there's someone who might be a fit for you. So I really want a lot of people practicing and doing it, and you don't have to be a Reiki healer like for your profession,
Hmm.
but just for everyday life, just doing it and putting it out there. Can you imagine if everyone practiced
Oh, yeah.
Reiki? How
And if it was
different?
in the schools, right?
Yes,
In the
yes.
preschools, the
Uh,
kindergartners.
someone asked me, actually the scientist was the one who's like, you
Mhm.
should do this in our schools, my kid's school.
Mhm.
And I was just like, well, I just trained you. Why don't you do it?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And yeah. And by the way, they have I forgot which country it was, but there is a country where they are already doing that in the
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
So we need to do it too. So yeah, I mean, that's really my big hurrah is like everyone should practice. Please.
All right. Very
Please.
good. Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much, LaTanya, for joining me on this Reiki journey. I really appreciate it. You have a lot going on, which is wonderful and magical and amazing. And you just took a little bit of your time to take this journey with me.
Thank you for inviting me and thank you for sharing your space with me.
Oh,
It
thank
was
you
so
so
beautiful.
much. All right, wonderful. All right, my wonderful listeners, if you would like your question featured on the podcast, reach out to Ready Set Reiki at www.readysetreiki.com. If you're interested in yoga or Reiki training, reach out to Feather Sister at www.feathersister.com. I'm Tracy Seawright, and this has been Ready Set Reiki.